Hello, everybody. So, dude, I just want to make some more videos like I casually put out there, but I also want to make some videos where I can speak a little bit more about things I'm enjoying, so I can hopefully kind of open up a conversation. Like, if you guys want these stuff too, you can like talk to me about it and kind of like whatever. And yeah, let you guys get to know me a little bit more and kind of stuff I'm enjoying because I watch a lot of TV, I watch a lot of movies, I read a lot of comic books, I play a lot of games and stuff like that. And I like the primary purpose of this channel originally was giving me space to kind of talk about these things. So I'm Rex the Dog, and welcome to our media log, things I've been enjoying. Episode 1, we're gonna do these kind of regularly as I accrue more things I've checked out. So first thing we got checked out here is anime here. I watched the two, because it comes in two cores, it comes in two seasons. I watched all of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. This is Stardust Crusaders, is the third part. So that is, it's like season 2, but it's in like two cores, so two halves of episodes. And I like this. I watched the JoJo's Part 1 and the JoJo's Part 2 like a very long time ago, the first season, which was like Battle Tendency, Phantom Blood and Battle Tendency, I think. I really quite liked Battle Tendency. I thought that was really fun. I liked the whole, is it called Hamon? Is that what it's called? Like the kind of like power system that they had, and I thought the stuff with like Dio and Speedwagon and these characters was like super fun. Was super fun. We get into like the third part now, the Stardust Crusaders, and they introduce these things called stands, which are kind of like personas, where not every character, but a lot of the characters are imbued with these like tarot card like inspired abilities, and it allows them to have like a a spirit thing. It has special abilities that like fights for them and aids them and stuff like that. It's like kind of like the personas in Shin Megami Tensei Persona. And I thought that the stand system was really cool. I did like that. I think it was very cool. I think the overall just kind of, they're making this trek to Egypt and then across Egypt, and it's kind of just like episodic shonen battles of just like they meet a guy with a stand and they fight a guy with the stand, and then they meet a guy with the stand and they fight a guy with the stand. And honestly, for me, somebody who's like at this point seen quite a lot of shonen, it's like I don't care. It's hard for me to kind of care. It's hard for me to kind of get like I was super into that, but I did like the stand thing. I think at the end, when they actually kind of like reach their goal and their destination and have their final confrontations there, I think that stuff's really fun, and I really enjoyed that. The last stretch of like like 4 episodes or whatever it is, whether like they're there and they're doing the thing, and it's the final confrontation and there's like stakes and whatever. I liked that a lot. I thought that was super fun, but I would say that the journey of getting there is kind of like a slog. So the positives for this for me was like I like the stand system, I like the ending. The rest of it was kind of like for me. I have hope for the next part. The Diamond is Unbreakable, because I think that like continues the stand gimmick thing, and maybe it's going to be like less shonen-y and there's more of a plot or whatever. But this kind of dragged, but there's definitely positives which I enjoyed. So hopefully, I don't know, hopefully my opinions don't get me crucified by the JoJo community. Okay, next thing we got up here is we've got Peacemaker Season 2. All right, this is a weird one. This is a really weird one. So we got this like James Gunn controlled, directed DC Studios, DC Universe now, which is, I enjoyed the Superman movie. I thought it was cool. I thought the Superman stuff was kind of fun. I do think that Superman as a concept is a lot bigger and a lot grander and a lot more important than like a vehicle to introduce a movie universe. Maybe I'll talk about Superman more in depth at some point, but I love Guy Gardner. I love Green Lantern, but why is Green Lantern in my Superman movie? I think Superman is more important than Spider-Man. I think Superman is more important than any of these things, and I think it should be like treated as such. I think it should be kind of treated as like a big deal, especially when you're like introducing the character and whatever. Like this is like the grandfather of everything, and the concepts of Superman are really big and grand. And I think that like you look at the Richard Donner, 78 or whenever that Superman movie came out, the Christopher Reeve one. It's like it feels like a Wes Anderson movie or something. It feels like an auteur movie. It's not a movie to introduce like a cinematic universe or a universe of characters. It is a movie that's like approaching ideas and whatever, and it's big and it's exciting and I love it and it's great and whatever. We're not talking about Superman here. We're talking about Peacemaker. So Peacemaker's it's pegged as like a direct follow up to Superman. It's dealing with the fallout of like, you know, the quantum chambers and the pocket dimensions, and you know, Lex Luthor pops up in it, and you see the Justice Gang and all this kind of stuff. This is weird for me. I generally enjoyed this. I generally really enjoyed this because I like the main characters, the 11th Street Kids. I like Peacemaker. I like Abadayo. I like Vigilante. I like Economos. I like Harwood. I like all these characters, you know, so it's fun to kind of spend more time with them. And I think John Cena is like gives a freaking performance in this because he has to do like emotions and feelings and all that kind of thing. I like this thing. I do think that there is it gets a bit muddled. It gets a little bit muddled in telling the story it wants to tell. I just like time spending with the characters. I did just enjoy time spending with characters. I think there's a lot of really fun character moments and stuff like that, which I really, really appreciated. I think there's a lot of weird sort of fan stuff surrounding this of like every week everyone's like, is Superman going to be in this episode? I think there's a lot of weird stuff like that. I don't care about that. I just want to like hang out with like Peacemaker and whatever. I thought this was fun for what it is. I think it gives like a cool sort of promise of the future with like Checkmate and seeing these characters again in like another way. I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was fun. It didn't. I think the first season was a lot more sort of like complete and fun and focused. But I was watching this like day of every week, so I think that kind of, you know, it probably says something. Okay, Attack on Titan season 3. So this again came in 2 cours. This came in 2 parts. I'm just kind of like I'm just sort of filling gaps. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I got like a lot more into anime like last year as like a thing, specifically like the summer of last year or whenever it was, the autumn of, maybe it was like this time last year. I was watching like a ton of anime anyway, and I kind of want to like I kind of want to like educate myself, you know, and like tap myself into the zeitgeist or whatever. So I have those like reference points and those understanding and whatever. And so Attack on Titan, I did watch like season 1 like when it aired way back in the day. I wasn't really an anime watcher, but Attack on Titan was like huge back in like 2013 or whatever that was. I watched the 2nd season really slowly over time, truncated. I was like, okay, let's get in the 3rd season. I think this is the, out of what I kind of remember out of all of them, I think this was kind of like the most exciting, to be honest. I think when you've got all your characters kind of like set up and good to go, you know, you've done all those legwork of like two seasons before it. I think you just kind of got all of the pieces in the sandbox and you can just kind of play with them. I do think that like the more it kind of reveals the true conceit and moves away from just like people defending their town from the Titans, I get like, I'm not super interested. I don't think the politics and the intrigue and the betrayal of this show, like the bigger stuff, is done as well as it thinks it is. I think it's a lot more interesting when it is just like, it's about survival and less about racism, because I don't think it really does that in a significantly profound way or anything like that. I don't know. I think it's fun. I don't think it's life-changing. I know people say this is like the peak of anime. I do not think it is, but I think it's well done. It's well made. Played some indie games here. So played this game called Helltaker. I only really knew Helltaker from Telegram stickers. Like I've seen the characters before, but I've never actually sort of like played it. I didn't know it was like it was kind of like a puzzly thing, at times rhythmy, at times sort of Crypt of the Necrodancer, sort of. I didn't know it was also kind of a dating sim, a light dater thing, visual novel thing. I didn't know anything about it. Booted it up, had a really good time. I think it's one of those things where like the music is just really good, the art style is really good, whether it's like the overhead models, you know, the character portraits on sprites on the screen. I think it's all very stylistic and looks cool on that kind of front. I had fun with it. It passed the time for like an hour and a half or whatever it was. And you know, I played through the DLC as well, Exam Taker, which just gives you like a little bit more. I think it's kind of nothing. I think it's kind of superfluous. Honestly, I don't think you need to go through Exam Taker. But it only takes half an hour, so whatever. Maybe if you just want a little bit more, but if you miss out on it, who cares? The base game of Hell Taker, I think it's really worth checking out. And it's free. It's there. It's cute. It made me laugh. I enjoyed the music. I enjoyed the aesthetic. The girls have cool costumes. I liked it. Okay, next here, next here is we got another anime, an isekai, campfire cooking in another world with my absurd skill. I'm not a big isekai guy. I've got loads of pretty harsh and negative things to say about stuff like, you know, Sword Art Online or ReZero or Nino Kuba, whatever that Kuba one is. I can't remember what the other one's called. I think a lot of it's just kind of like slop. This one I thought was kind of fun. So you get these characters who are isekai'd in a world. They're given abilities. They become like warriors and champions for the king or whatever the hell it was. I can't remember. One of them, his ability is he can access an online storefront and he can order food. He keeps this kind of secret, and he's like, I don't really have the ability to work, so he just kind of lives in the town, and he runs a little scheme where he is able to order what is exotic food to this world from Japan, cook really good with it, sell it for a lot of money, buy things for a lot cheaper on his online storefront, and enjoy. He like a Fenrir or whatever they're called, one of those like mystical wolves. Likes his cooking, becomes his familiar, fights for him. This little blob that's overpowered comes later. I thought it was fun. I thought it was cute. It doesn't have too much of that kind of classic isekai, like, I was isekai'd into a world where I'm the most powerful being and now I have 6,000 girlfriends. It wasn't kind of any of that sort of fantasy. I got kind of rule about isekais. If there's so many like girls on the poster, it's probably going to be slop. There's a few girls up here who are these goddesses, but it doesn't go like full on harem stupid ass dumb stuff that I don't personally enjoy. So I thought this was cute. I wouldn't tell anybody to rush out and watch it, but it was a fun thing that passed the time. Season 2 is airing currently, and I'm watching season 2. Alright, here we go. We have Demon Slayer, the movie, the second like canonical must-watch Demon Slayer movie. They did Mugen Train, and I think they've done some like, you know, like recap movies, you know, like anime do that. I think they've done some recap movies for the not the training arc, but the casino one, the casino season or whatever it is. So they go to the city and there's gambling, which I really like. I thought that was really fun. Anyway, I thought the Yatsubo training arc or whatever the hell it's called, the last season, I thought that was kind of poop. It didn't really, I don't care enough about it for just a training arc to keep me super interested, but I thought the ending, when they dropped in the Infinity Castle, was freaking hype. I don't know, like, Demon Slayer manga. Again, I'm just kind of watching Demon Slayer to be, like, part of the zeitgeist and be, like, finger on the pulse of anime and seeing what's going on there. And the things that I did really like about Demon Slayer when I initially watched it, like when I was watching, like, the first season and getting into it, is I really liked some of the, like, creative, like, fight scenes and the stuff with, like, you know, when he fights that guy with, like, the drums, and it's like gravity, and it like pulls them against the walls and stuff. Like, I was like, oh, this is sick. I haven't seen this before, and this is animated really well, so it's really creative and it's cool, and I like this. This is sick. And then like the concept of the Infinity Castle is just like that, like exploded of just like gravity and direction and infinite. You know, we can fight over there. We can fight over there. We can fight over there. We can fall infinitely there. We can fall infinitely that way. I was like, oh, that's gonna provide some like cool ass sequences. And then they're like, we're going to do it as a movie, we're going to do it as 3 movies actually, and we're going to spend a bunch of money on it. So I'm like, okay, cool, they're going to spend a bunch of money on people falling in different directions and having weird gravity fight scenes, and that's what you get in this movie. So I was like, this delivered for me. It's delivered for me. I'm not super invested in like individual characters in Demon Slayer, to be honest, but those kind of like cool sort of like visual shonen-y stuff, I'm like, yeah, boom, I'm in. And this delivered on that front and gave me what I wanted on that front, so thumbs up to the Infinity Castle thing. Obviously, if you don't care about Demon Slayer, don't watch this. But if you're in there, if you're in the Demon Slayer world, you're in the Demon Slayer world. Keep being in the Demon Slayer world. Enjoy Infinity Castle. And there's 2 more parts to go. I hope there's not just some really... I hope, as long as the landing, as long as the ending is just like fine, I'm content. As long as it's not like immensely stupid, or a character we've never met before shows up and is the main villain, like in Naruto. Unless it's just some stupid like that, I think I'm going to be pretty satisfied with these upcoming Demon Slayer movies, and I think I'm going to kind of look forward to them. Keep looking forward to them. All right. So what we got here is we got Cyberpunk 2077. I knew nothing about Cyberpunk. I just knew that when it came out, people did not like it because it was buggy. I had a PS4 when it came out. I know on PS4 it was like the worst thing to ever happen in human history. And yeah, I didn't know much about Cyberpunk. I'm not a CD Projekt Red guy. I played Witcher 1 ages ago. And that's it. That's how much I'm in this world. I know I play a lot of games. I know this is like a big game. I know people talk about it a lot. I know people love it a lot. So it's like I want to at least try this out. Again, I like to be plugged into the Zeitgeist. So I wanted to check this out. I checked this out. I stuck it through. I played the whole thing. I went back and did a bunch of side quests and stuff as well. I would like to play Phantom Liberty at some point, but I can't justify spending €30 on a DLC or whatever it is at the moment. But yeah, I thought this was really, really cool. Really fell in love with the world kind of instantly. Feels lived in, feels real. Doesn't feel like you're getting weird forced exposition to like introduce things. You just feel like a character who exists in this world. You've obviously got like a big grand story and stuff attached to you, but it doesn't feel like the world was built for your character and your story, because obviously it wasn't. It comes from a bunch of like it comes from a tabletop RPG. It comes from like, decades of source books and stuff at this point. And yeah, it just feels like a campaign in that world, and I really, really, really enjoyed that, and I want to spend more time in this world. And I've been reading source books and stuff from the tabletop RPG. Expect more Cyberpunk stuff from me, because I like this. I think it was very, very good. Yes. All right, let's talk about one more thing, because we're about to hit like the 20-minute mark. But there'll have to be a bunch of episodes of this, because I watch a lot, I read a lot, I listen to a lot, whatever. Fire Force Season 3, the first core. I don't know. I just kind of like wanted to be watching something. I like watching things. I like engaging with things like playing games, watching things that are current, so you can be part of that sort of like current like conversation and the hype, and I kind of like that. So there's not a lot of like big shonen anime at the moment, apart from kind of the obvious stuff. And this is kind of popular, and I watched the first 2 seasons of it, and they were fine. They were interesting enough. I like the kind of like rock and roll. I like kind of all that sort of stuff. So I was like, let's just keep watching this or whatever. It's kind of dawned on me how crazy similar it is to like Final Fantasy VII as it's gone on. Not just like the fact there's like Shinra in it as like a name, but also like the actual like sort of main theme. Not like the opening song, you know what I mean? But like the main theme, like the orchestral theme, it sounds really like Final Fantasy VII music. Like really, really, and like the opening motif especially. It sounds like it's orchestration from like Remake or Rebirth. And also as we go on, we're just getting more and more into, like corporations and the planet and like live streaming stuff. It's like really Final Fantasy VII. It's obviously nowhere near as good as Final Fantasy VII. Like not even like touching close. But I think this is kind of fun. I will say that I think this first core of Season 3 I think it was a lot weaker. I think the pacing was a lot worse. I don't know if that's a consequence of the source material of the manga, or I don't know if they're just kind of like dragging this out so they can split it up over more seasons, because I don't know how close we are to the end. Maybe it's like 1 season more, I don't know. But Fire Force is fine. I feel I don't really have much to talk about it, and I think that's kind of maybe telling. Anyway, dude, that's about 20 minutes, so maybe we'll do these in kind of like 20-minute chunks of Rex, what I have been enjoying, if you're interested. So you can check out these videos. Let me know if there's any of these things that you also enjoy, you're curious about, any questions about them, or also if there's something you want me to check out, you saw something here, it's like, if you like this, you should check out this, or just random recommendations. I would like recommendations, because I think one of the most fun thing about art, whether it's books, whether it is comic books, whether it is music, whether it's pro wrestling, whether it's video games, whether it's movies, whether it's TV shows, whether it's anime, whatever it may be. I think the most fun thing about art is the fact that we can think about it and we can discuss it with other people and share our thoughts. So it's honestly one of like the big sort of bases of why I do this channel. So you want to yap on with me? Yap on with me. Peace.